The four elements of hip-hop, as I understand it, and it was explained to me by KRS-One from Boogie Down Productions, not personally, but it was him that basically outlined the four elements of hip-hop, like the four integral parts of hip-hop was, one is breakdancing, which is like the physical, art. There's DJing, which is like the instrumental, and then there's MCing, which is the poetic or literary form, and then there's graffiti, which is the visual art form of it. And those are the four elements of hip-hop as understood in the subculture in New York City. I was never really a graceful kid, so I couldn't really breakdance. I didn't have enough money to buy DJ equipment, so that was out the window too. And MCing, I just didn't like being on stage, and performing like that. And I liked, plus the first time you get a spray can in your hand, the very first time, and you write something, and it's like you see it on the wall and you're like, I did that, I practiced, I know the rules, the history of it. So yeah, I chose graffiti because, I don't know, I like it. I like the art form, I like the angles. The first thing I wanted to be when I was a kid, like a real job, was an architect. So I was drawing, but I wasn't really good at it. I was 9 or 10. And then I saw graffiti, and then I saw that the respect that you got from that. And also, there's a lot of violence there, so it's like, if you know how to write very well, they'll put you down, a crew will pick you up. They'll be like, yo, you want to be down? And then if you're down with the crew, then you have a group of people. If somebody messes with you, they're gonna have your back. I don't know, I live right by the train station, so the one line used to cross by my house on the left side, and when I used to chill in the fire escape, there used to be graffiti all over all the buildings and stuff, but some of them was really bad. But then sometimes you get really good ones on the trains from like really, really good artists like Lee and Dante and PJ and all those really old school guys that are like really good. And when I was growing up, I saw that, and then I was like, that's pretty cool. I wonder how they do that. And later I found out that they would go to the train yard over at 207th Street. That's where they had all the trains. That's where they would stop, So it'd be full of trains, and the guys would just go in there overnight and just do it up, bomb the shit out of them. Bombing is like when you go writing like a lot. Like you're not just catching a tag with the marker, You go with like a book bag filled, a couple book bags filled with spray cans, like 30, 40, 50 spray cans. And then you do a burner on well, you could do burners, you could do throwies, you could do straight letters, you could do a whole bunch of different things. But if you're gonna go to the train yard, usually people would do one or two things: do fast throwies on everything, or they would concentrate on one thing and do one burner. It's like you do the best you could possibly do. Like, like you spend your time doing it, you could spend like 8 hours doing it, all overnight. There's like an unwritten law in graffiti. Like, if you write with the marker on the wall, I can come by and write with the spray paint, not on purpose to like buff you, but I could write with spray paint and go over you. That's cool. And if you write with the spray can and you just write your name, I can go with the bubble letter. And that bubble letter I can go over with like a nice straight line. And then I could go also over that, like it's a progressive thing. And then you could do like a burner or a wild style over anything except for another burner or wild style. If you break those rules, basically that means disrespect. Although in LA it's different. Like you just can't touch anybody's stuff, even if it's written in pencil. But in New York City, it's like, yeah, if you write with the marker, I could go over to the spray can. I could do a piece over it, and you can't get mad over that. When you're tagging on the street, yeah. But the train yards, they didn't have the stuff that they have now. Like they were thinking about putting like dogs in there and like double walls, and that was during Mayor Koch. I don't know if people don't really remember Mayor Koch, but he wasn't really liked that much in my neighborhood. He was really like an oppressive dictator in my neighborhood. That's the way we saw him. He was he was just a dick. Well, instead of putting cops on real things to do, like arrest crack and drug dealers and stuff like that, and stopping the prostitutes that would have sex in the middle of the street on a rooftop. You know, they would like get a bunch of cops to be like part of the graffiti unit. And it's like, seriously, you're gonna spend like all this money on a graffiti, on kids that are trying to draw and stuff? Although the main part for me was the rebelling thing, you know? Like there was a lot of cops in the neighborhood, and they would treat you like shit. They would arrest you for riding your bike on the curb, you know, on the sidewalk. They would arrest you for anything. I mean, seriously, I've seen people get beat up. See, it's weird because when my neighborhood, it was full of Dominicans, and they just got off, you know, the plane from Dominican Republic, so it was natural for them to sit in the corner and you know, drink a beer and be chilling with their friends. So the cops would come around, and there's laws against, you know, drinking beer on the corner with your friends, even though you're like 50, 60 years old playing domino and shit. Like it's they frowned upon that, and they would arrest people for that. And these people are really respected in my neighborhood. Some of these guys fought in the Revolutionary War in the Dominican Republic, and these guys are like, they're pretty important guys, you know. And they would just get arrested for playing dominoes or riding your bike or playing with the fire hydrant, you know, or stuff like that. And they would beat the fuck out of people, like really bad. I've seen people get really beat up by cops, and then you surround the cops, and then the cops, they just, you know, pull out their guns and their clubs, and then they call for backup, and then they beat up more people, and then it wouldn't get covered on TV. Nobody would know, nobody would care. It's just like a normal day. Every day was like that during the 80s. So that and just I hated the police, man. I hated the police, so graffiti was like my way of you know, sticking my middle finger out at them.